Welcome to DC Sports Makes Me Sad with Danny Jollis. I'm Danny Jollis. What a week! Today is December 16th. And DC Sports have had another absolutely brutal week. In this week's episode, we'll talk about the Nationals doing nothing, the Capitals losing a bunch of games, but looking good, not concerned, the Wizards winning a game, and the Commanders winning a game, but also shutting down Jaden Daniels, and what's the point of living? I'd like to begin the episode, though, with what I believe is the biggest story in DC sports this week, the biggest event this week, which was John Cena's final match. John Cena's final match was held in Washington, D.C., and I say that for all the people out there who say DC sports isn't the best. Well, where did John Cena, the GOAT, decide to have his last match? Washington, D.C. You betcha he did. Why'd he do that? Because we're the best fans on earth? Because we bring an electrifying atmosphere? Because we sell out the arena? No big problem. Capital One is electrifying. That's in all caps, electrifying. Because we are one of the great sports cities, and because we're used to being disappointed. And listen, this is a DC sports pod. And I'm sorry to say that you're about to all have to sit through a little thing called a man in his 30s yelling about wrestling. But oh my God, even wrestling disappoints in Washington, D.C. John Cena's final match, if you don't follow wrestling, John Cena is the GOAT. He has the most championships. He is truly just a spectacularly big figure in wrestling. And a spectacularly big figure in wrestling when it comes to also just being good. Like, wrestling has a problem where there's a lot of people who are great wrestlers, and all outside the ring, it gets a little questionable. Some heels in the ring, heels outside the ring. Some baby faces in the ring, a little bit of heel outside the ring. John Cena, baby face outside the ring, always. And John Cena did something really cool where last year he goes, this is my final year. We're going to build to the end. This is it. They had the opportunity to tell a story, not just tell a story, but wrap up a story. And they were going to do it in Washington, D.C. To say I'm angry about the ending is, I'd say, an understatement. And again, grown man yelling about wrestling. But you got to be kidding me having him lose. Because let's be clear, they bungled this from the beginning. They bungled this last year. They decided to do the heel turn, which was so exciting. So exciting. But it turns out they had no plan, and it was a disaster. And you might be saying to yourself, Danny, isn't that John Cena? Couldn't John Cena have come up with the idea for the heel turn? Couldn't John Cena have been the one who messed this up? Sure. Normally, you would go, it could have been John Cena's idea. We don't know. But in a little documentary called WWE Unreal, for inexplicable reasons, they made sure to tell us, fans, that no. John Cena had nothing to do with this idea. For inexplicable reasons, they went, don't even think of giving John Cena ownership of this big move. Instead, let's make sure that you know Triple H's idea. Triple H came up with the idea. Triple H made calls. They show you his call list so you know that John Cena was the last person to know about his own heel turn, because God forbid we give him ownership of it. Travis Scott, the musician, knew about John Cena's heel turn before John Cena. That frustrates me. So we get to the end of this amazing career, and I was worried because John Cena is the best. He is a true babyface outside the ring. So John Cena will do whatever they tell him to do. He gives to this industry. And they go, well, we're in Washington, D.C. We got to disappoint the fans. We have to make sure we disappoint the fans. It's Washington, D.C. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Give them a good one? Let's make sure to make everybody angry. So we're going to have him lose. Not just we're going to have him lose. Because you could debate me on, okay, maybe he loses his last match. Maybe you build the year around around him and Gunther, who beat him. You go, all right, you're going to have him fight Gunther 2 times this year. He's going to beat Gunther every time. So when Gunther beats him at the end, it's a really big deal for Gunther. It's kind of his last thing. It really launches him into the next level. You can really build something around it. We're not going to do that. We're just going to have Gunther beat him. And Gunther's just going to tap him out. And John Cena tapped out. The guy who says, never give up, never quit, quits. I just don't understand why everything that happens in DC with sports has to be disappointing. The stupidest way to end his career. So frustrating. I love John Cena so much, and what a bummer way to end it. And it's not just because I really wanted to see him win. It's because why? Why would you end it like that? Why would you choose to end it that way? You could have had it go any other direction. But at least we know whose idea it was. That's the fun part. We do know whose idea it was. They made sure to tell us that. But, now shout out DC Sports. We booed. DC Sports doesn't boo often. Now, wrestling fans are a slightly different group than full sports fans, but booed it. We don't boo often in Washington, D.C. People who don't know Washington, D.C., they don't know. DC Sports, we don't boo often. We booed this one. I'm proud of us. As we should have. All right, let's talk about our actual teams. But John Cena, I love you, and I'm sorry that's how it ended. It shouldn't have ended that way. But you're the GOAT. And I speak for all of DC when I say it was an honor to host your last match. And I'm so angry on your behalf. Let's do an episode. Watching me right now. You're listening to me right now. You could be watching and listening to an ad. Email Danny at DannyJones.com if you want to be an ad on this tiny little podcast. The Washington Nationals, this is the all-time I'm going to spend on them. They did nothing except picked up a catcher prospect. Every other team picking up cool athletes. Oh, players are getting passed around like wildfire. I'd say every 6 hours I get a little notification on my phone about somebody on some team picking up someone, and it looks fun. It looks fun to sign players, but we picked up a catching prospect. Who by the way, my friend, I got a friend who is a Mariners fan. He said, "Oh, you're gonna like this guy. He's a good kid." I said, "I bet he is. I bet he is. We're gonna need to spend money at some point. We're gonna need to spend money." The Wizards this week. We beat the Pacers. Now, the Pacers are, for the record, also tanking. But it was cool to see. It was cool to see us win that game. And I will say, we looked good. And I will shout out, if you watch this game, I want to make sure I say it. Because I got to tell you, I didn't even realize, this guy was as good as he is. But this second-round pick we got is no joke. We got this second-round pick. I feel like we are sleeping on this guy. Watkins is unbelievable. Jameer Watkins. I was watching this. This is the second game in a row. Both these games, I watched Jameer Watkins, and I was like, this guy's playing really well. Really like this kid, Jameer Watkins. He was my standout of the week. We beat the Pacers. Pacers are tanking too, but it's fun. I think we do need to win some games. We have to win some. Because we have to show some promise. So I liked that we won this game. I thought it was a good win. McCollum continues to just make himself a really appealing trade. Love that. Great job. You're doing great, CJ. You're doing great. And the rookies continue to look good. Alex Sarr is out. Still playing well. Marvin Bagley playing out of his mind. Now, I will say, the other game versus the Cavs. Peak Wizards. Just leading the whole way. And then CJ McCollum goes, how can we lose? How can we figure out a way to lose? Let's make sure we don't win this one. It was classic. This season, if you've been watching us this season, you know A lot of games where we've just kind of gone, let's lose this one. Let's lose this one. How? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in post, but we got to make sure we lose. And they did. And I really credit McCollum. I'm telling you, CJ McCollum, I feel like gets out of bed and says, I'm going to put up numbers. I'm going to do well. And if, God forbid, we are leading in the fourth quarter, I'll do what needs to be done to make sure that we lose this game. Don't you worry about a thing. I'm on top of it. Also, Bub Carrington, back. A lot of people count him out. He's back. Get out of here. A phone call in the middle. Rude. Wizards look great. This upcoming week I'll tell you who we got. We got some people coming up who are going to probably beat our brains in, but I'm excited about the week ahead. I feel good about this team. I really do. I'm very optimistic about the Wizards. I think we have to eventually spend money, but we got a lot of young talent that we can dangle out there. And I like that. We got the Spurs and Grizzlies next. They should beat our little behinds into the ground, and I love that for us. Commanders beat the Giants. Oh, look who's back. Guess who's back? The Commanders are. We're shutting down Jaden Daniels. The season's over. But we did win a game, and that felt good. It really did. I don't. Sometimes, I think I'm like, oh, I know the season is the season. I'm okay with it. And then something like this happens, and you go, you know what? I still want to win. I still got that I want to win in me, where I'm like, no, we're not going down like this. We're not losing like this. Freaking loved it. Loved that win. It just felt good. Terry out there playing well. Mariota. We're shutting down Jaden. Makes sense. We're out. Season's over. Let's regroup. I still believe in the Commanders. Is it worth really discussing who did what? Not really. We know what it is. We know this season's done. I like seeing that Jackson Dart isn't all I thought he was going to be. I liked seeing that. You only put up, what would they put up, 22 on us? You only put up 22 on that Commanders defense? That's a moment to look inward. That's a moment you're going to want to look inward. You should be putting up more than 22. 21. Yeah, you got to put up more than 21 against that defense of ours. That's embarrassing. They should be ashamed of themselves. It's good to get a win. Felt good. I know it hurts our draft, but we got a quarterback. That's always where you really got to go crazy in the draft. So we're going to get someone good. Proud of the Commanders. Proud to see us win. Hey, way to go, Dan. Way to go, Dan Quinn. Way to go, team. Way to show that we have some fight. Let's finish this season strong. Let's get our absolute... Let's let the Eagles just beat us into the ground. And then we go into next year. Focused, fired up, ready to destroy. But let's make sure to get our absolute asses kicked by the Eagles. Okay. It's like the way you have to do this podcast, you basically have to split into two parts. Sometimes three, where you go on a wrestling rant. But what you do is you go, hey, let's talk about the three teams that we're talking about. They don't matter. And then you go, let's do the real segment. Let's talk about the Capitals. Watching me right now. You're listening to me right now. You could be watching and listening to an ad. Email Danny at DannyJones.com if you want to be an ad on this tiny little podcast. The Washington Capitals, our only real team. They lost both games this week. Tough. We don't like that. We don't like losing, but we're okay. We looked good. Look, the game against the Hurricane, tough. We played hard, though. Ovechkin, sick assist. We did lose in a shutout, but we get a point for that. We're okay. We're okay. And we got our asses beat by the Jets. That's okay. It's hockey, baby. It's hockey. We just gotta make the playoffs and look good, and we're doing plenty. I think it's important during hockey season. I think hockey really is the sport where you most can just be like, hey, it's all gonna come together. Hockey's a sport where, as a fan, you gotta go, hey, take your time. Got to get hot going into the playoffs. Logan Thompson, our goalie, looks great. But I want him to be good all season. And then I want the last 3 games of the season for him to get hot. I need him to get hot. You got to have a hot goalie right at the end. That's the key. NHL is all about just be good enough to make the playoffs and then get hot going into the playoffs. And we are executing that plan to perfection right now. We look good as a team. We're playing well. Everything's good. I like what I see. And all that said, let's just keep doing what we're doing and then get hot in that last month. Last couple weeks of the season, get hot. And then we ride into the playoffs. And the playoffs are, we're staring down All-Star break pretty soon. So we're coming up on it. So we got to lock in. Ovechkin's been spectacular. Oh, he had a sick assist in that Carolina game. Sick assist. He's looked great. We look great. Wilson, banger. Protas looking great. I mean, everybody looks great. It's almost... I think the level of sadness of a DC sports fan has to also be coupled with the level of love of the Capitals. Right? I think that's an important element of it all. I think that you have to take your level of anger at these other 3 teams and go, the Capitals, I'm not here to get angry at the Capitals. I'm here to believe in them. And that's what I do. I'll always believe in them. Because they make good decisions and they're playing well. So here I am doing a podcast saying we lost 2 this week. No big deal. All of our teams this week. The fun of a DC sports pod is it just makes us sad, but we're okay. That's how I feel. That's how I feel leaving this week, going into this next one. I go, hey, Capitals, we're gonna be fine. Lost 2, we'll be right back. Wizards, probably gonna get our asses kicked this week. That's okay. The young guys look good. Jameer Watkins in particular just got me real excited this week. I was like, who's this? We got another young guy. Let's go. Another one who excites me. Would I love it if some of the other guys were playing more? Sure, but he looks great. Bub looks great. A lot of talent on that Wizards team. Commanders, we know what this season is. We're regrouping. We'll get there. Nationals, I'm furious at all times, but maybe we make moves this week. Who knows? Maybe next week I come on this podcast and I go, hey, oops, looks like we're trying. Looks like we're doing more than picking up catching prospects and trading away our 2 best players probably. But I get the feeling I'm going to be back here next week going, Mackenzie Gore got traded for, and then I'll say these words, I guarantee it, some young prospects. Same with C.J. Abrams. So we're going to lose him. I'll be sad. Right now we don't have any players on the team, so that's exciting. But maybe next week I come on here, I go, we spent money. We're making moves. We're doing stuff. Shut me up and call me Sally. At the end of the day, at the end of this week, Capitals are doing great. Wizards 1-1, which was exciting. Commanders 1-1. Season's over, but we're going to be fine. Next year, let's lock in. Let's get it all back. Terry and Jaden spend the offseason. Let's figure this thing out. And let's get a new defense, and we are going to be just fine. We have a team that can compete. Sorry about it. Rest of the NFL. We'll be back. Nationals figure it out. And most of all, the biggest DC sports story, John Cena's retirement match. to do that in our home was disrespectful to Washington, D.C. The state that isn't a state is in a state of anger because John Cena's final match was insulting to us. But we booed, and I'm proud of us for that. All right. You can catch me in Syracuse, New York, Endicott, New York, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Tyler, Texas, San Francisco for New Year's, more. Come see me if you want to see me at those shows, please. DC Sports, we're good. Podcast is going to have weeks like this where I sit here and I go, hey, everything's all right. We're okay. We're okay. We're going to be fine. Minus the Nationals, Commanders, and Wizards. We're going to be fine. Which really means just the Capitals. But that's life in the fast lane. That's DC Sports, and they make me sad. I'm Danny Jollis. See you next week.